Okay, well, here is our first asynchronous class. And as I mentioned before, what that means is we will not be meeting face-to-face or via video chat on Thursday. And what you see here for the lesson plan for Thursday is generally what you'll see for all the other asynchronous meetings, although there might be some slight variations. Basically, you've got your online lecture and readings. These are some videos that give you some basic idea about rhetoric in this case. Of course, readings from the textbook, and our first assignment. Then we also are going to have a Google Plus class discussion. And generally, your first post should be made by noon. This way, we have time throughout the day to interact with each other's posts. So you can't just come in and post something on Google Plus and leave and forget about it for the rest of the day, but come back periodically and read what other people are posting and also post comments on some of those. And of course, you're welcome to post more than one thing. Think of this like a classroom. Good participation in a classroom is not just saying one thing, it's actually saying several things and responding to what other people are saying in the class. And so our discussion for Thursday will be mostly about different ideas that we might have for Inquiry 1, places where you've used or encountered rhetoric, particularly in a digital context. And then there'll be a blogger post, and these are more, they're still informal writings, but they're more formal than just the Google Plus discussion. You have to write an extended essay, several paragraphs usually. These are usually 300 to 500 words, but that can vary. They're mostly graded by how you're engaging the different material. So it's very important that you talk about the lectures, point to specific things that struck you or specific things that help you think about rhetoric in a different way from the lectures, from the readings, from all the different things that you were supposed to watch and read. Now you can use the questions that I've posted as prompts for the blog, but also you have a freedom to write about things that interest you. But the important thing is that you're engaging the material for the day, so whether that be lectures or readings. So it's important to realize that even though this is an online class, it's not your typical online class. All writing classes are very interactive. Participation means interacting through discussion, but also interacting with other people's writings, which we're going to do a lot this semester. So this is not the kind of online course where I'll post lectures and readings and you do those, and then you'll be a test every 2 weeks or something, and you generally don't meet your fellow students, and you generally don't talk to me. That's not the kind of class this is. This is actually going to be highly interactive. In fact, just as interactive as a face-to-face writing classroom, perhaps even more interactive in some ways. Alright, I just want to say a few words about Inquiry 1, the first assignment. This is obviously going to be done very quickly. And that's partly just to get you understanding a little bit about rhetoric, thinking about how you use it in your life, and also to get some writing down on paper, because the faster we get something on paper, the faster we'll be able to start working on writing. And I'll get to see, some of your thoughts and how you generally go about writing, and this is a very useful assignment, but it's going to be very short. And for this assignment, we're going to reflect or think about how we've encountered rhetoric in different ways, or even used rhetoric, particularly in the digital world. Now notice we're starting off with an inquiry question. One of the premises of this class is that we use writing to ask questions, to explore knowledge, to create knowledge. And so by writing or telling a story, hopefully we'll discover something new about rhetoric that we didn't know before, and perhaps that we can communicate to other people. So our inquiry question, or the question that we would like to answer with this assignment, is how has digital technology impacted the way you communicate in the world or see the world? We're going to be using rhetoric to help us answer that question by examining one of our own rhetorical moments in our own lives. Now, I can be pretty flexible on how we define the digital world, and of course, how we interact with the digital world is not separate from the physical world. We don't exist completely in a digital world. So definitely there's going to be other physical embodied contexts that connect to these digital moments. But there should be some element, some part of the story where you encounter rhetoric in some way digitally. This could be on a phone, could be on the computer, even TV, or a radio. Does anybody still listen to radio? I don't know. The most important part about this assignment is to get started on the right foot. And what this means is picking a very specific moment. Don't tell about a long story that lasted the entire summer, or lasted an entire month, or even an entire week. Focus on a particular moment within a day. And then perhaps you can talk about other moments later on. And we'll talk about this a little bit more next week. But it's very important to start thinking about specific moments rather than something broad and generic. Also, think about digital environments in a broad way. Automatically, our minds usually go to Facebook and Twitter and things like that. But we definitely interact in many different ways with digital environments. And those are the most interesting and unique essays usually. But if you do pick Facebook or Twitter, try to come at it from a unique angle. How are you interacting in that moment with Facebook that is unique to your particular story or situation? In other words, what can we learn about rhetoric from your story? And of course, in the assignment sheet, I do have some questions here to help you get started thinking about it. You definitely do not want to go through each of these questions and answer them in your essay. These are just kind of to get you started thinking about what you're going to focus on as far as rhetoric goes. You'll also notice I've got criteria. I have the criteria here on the assignment sheet. And most important is that you're analyzing some rhetorical moment using rhetorical theory in some way. And this can be using the rhetorical vocabulary or using words that reflect back to the rhetorical vocabulary. There also should be some interaction with digital and physical context, and you should have a clear audience and purpose. In other words, you're not just telling a story to tell a story. You're telling a story to teach your audience something about rhetoric that you discovered by reflecting on this moment. And that's very important. And generally, the best essays for Inquiry 1 are usually around 700 to 1,000 words. And as you can see, I break down each inquiry by participation, which is 15%. Writer's reflection, we'll talk about that later, 5%. And then the essay as a whole is 80% of your grade. The rough draft will be due August 29th, and I'll show you how to hand that in next week. And the final draft will be due on Friday. So I think that's enough information to get you started thinking about Inquiry 1. We'll be focusing on this a lot next week. So I look forward to hearing your topic ideas, and feel free to shoot me any questions on Google+.